Browns quarterback Kenny Pickett traded to the Las Vegas Raiders in exchange for a 2026 fifth-round pick. So if you need to find your way around and find your way through the Kenny Pickett mess, that would be trade a fifth-round pick in Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who got cut from the Eagles, to the Eagles, and then receive a fifth-round pick back from the Las Vegas Raiders. And what might just be like a couple pick difference. Like, I don't know, you could move up a couple of picks. More likely, probably move back a couple of picks from the Raiders. You basically did nothing here. But you just traded a fifth-round pick for a fifth-round pick. It's basically what happened. You're like, we don't like ours. Let's go get the Raiders at this point. But honestly, like, in a way, it's kind of a sigh of relief. Like, I'm going to be honest, getting rid of Kenny Pickett to me is a sigh of relief. Because all I've heard over and over again, Browns are going to carry four quarterbacks. Browns are going to carry four quarterbacks. And we've been sitting here time and time again. And I've told you guys, it feels like I just don't know feasibly how they go through and do that. You want to see the two rookies. You're going to carry two veterans. I don't know where they were actually going to be able to go through and move with this plan where, hey, you know what? If the worst case scenario happened and Joe went down, were you really turning to Kenny Pickett at that point? Were you really going in, not trusting in your rookie quarterbacks? And, if it sucks, it sucks. But I'd still rather see the rookies out there and be bad, in all honesty, rather than see Kenny Pickett play. That's the bottom line. I don't really need to see Kenny Pickett. I'm sorry. Would have liked to see you maybe start the season if you could have competed with Joe Flacco. But right now, you played 4 training camp, or you were out there for 4 days of training camp, an actual 11-on-11s, and you never got healthy. I just don't see how you have the runway to actually get involved and stay on this team. You were supposed to go through and prove something that, hey, I can go out and start for this team. Whether he could or couldn't is just going to be left up into the air. I don't know if he would have been able to beat Joe. I would have found it hard to believe, but maybe the chance was out there, right? Felt like the Browns would have loved if that could have happened. At the end of the day, like, you're out there for 4 days. You couldn't beat him. You were never brought here to be the backup quarterback. And after everything that I've seen out of Dillon Gabriel, which, again, I'm not claiming the guy's the next Joe Montana or anything. Like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. But if you're looking for competency, which is what I'm looking in my backup quarterback, I'm looking for a guy that knows how to run the offense. And if I have to turn to him, well, I can right now. Right? Like, I can trust him to move the ball. I can trust him to make good decisions and just at least try to keep the offense from shooting themselves in the foot. That's exactly what I've seen out of Dillon Gabriel this whole time. He is a quarterback that is not going to go through and shoot the offense in the foot by turning the ball over and making dumb mistakes. Yes, he's not perfect. Yes, the pick six was a bad throw. But I've seen enough out of Dillon that he looks good. Like, I trust him to run the offense if I absolutely had to in week 1. I'd like him to develop and take some time and not have to go out there week 1, and hopefully Joe stays healthy. But if I had to make that turn, I'd be comfortable making that turn. So all I have now is the exact quarterback room that, in a way, I think everybody pretty much wanted for this team.
Do you think that when they realized that the 2 rookies in, you have the 2 veterans, if you want to call Kenny a veteran, and their idea was, okay, whether Joe or Kenny wins the job, one of them is going to get traded?
It felt like that should have been the plan all along, and in a way, it kind of felt like it was to a degree. And let's just call it what it was. Like, the Browns have been selling, we're going to take 4 quarterbacks, we're going to take 4 quarterbacks. Every time Andrew Berry has said it, I'm like, that guy is just saying it so he can actually have somebody go trade for one of the veterans. It always felt like the veteran that was going to be traded for was probably Kenny. It's like Joe was on the open market. He wasn't getting too many looks.
I mean, Kenny's young, right? Maybe his best football's ahead of him, right? Maybe if he's a backup and you put him in a small role. But
potentially.
Flacco's best play is behind him. Like, we know that for a fact. Kenny, there's still a question mark. Like,
and I think at the very least, by the very least, Kenny Pickett is he's a good backup quarterback.
Serviceable.
Yeah.
He's won important games in the league. Not playoff games, but important regular season games. If you're the Raiders, you don't know what the season's going to be. It's a good pickup for them. You give up a 5th round, and no one needs 5th rounds, right? Geno goes down or Geno doesn't play well, right? There's a question mark there. Maybe he'll flourish under Pete Carroll in Vegas. I don't know.
I literally had it down in our rundown today because I saw the Aiden O'Connell injury and that they were searching for a backup. And I think we actually have the Pete Carroll audio for what they were looking in a backup quarterback. But I had it written down today, are the Browns being blessed with an opportunity to move Kenny Pickett? Because by what Pete Carroll says, it sounds like Kenny Pickett would be the exact guy. In fact, let's listen to exactly what Pete Carroll said he wanted in a backup.
And I'm not going to really lay out exactly what we're looking for here. Once somebody's played, that's what's important. Guys, this head game experience is really huge to me. We have Cam, and Cam, hasn't played in the league much, so we're looking for an experienced player that could help us.
Is that not Kenny Pickett? Like, you're looking for a guy with real game experience? I mean, Dom and I just talked about it. Like, he's won NFL games. He's played in the league. He played for a Super Bowl team last year and at least has that pedigree and had to step in for a couple of games for Jalen Hurts. It was exactly what you're looking for. It felt like the blessed opportunity, and it ended up being the blessed opportunity. Like, if you're telling me right now that you traded away DTR and swapped fifth with the Raiders, I think everybody would have been through the moon to start the year. You had to go through the Kenny Pickett experience. We've had to live through the four-man quarterback competition, how nobody felt like this was a great runway for any of these quarterbacks to get ready. But overall, like, getting the move that you wanted, this feels like it's exactly there. Now, I think I could draw on a lot of questions to the Browns' process for going about this. Because if your goal was always see what veteran wins and then basically get rid of the other one, you're not exactly handing things to be successful for your rookies. Like, we had to watch Shedeur throw to ball boys and everybody else because Kenny Pickett was on the field ultimately at the end of the day just to be traded. And even if that was, go back to Joe Flacco, and if you were going to cut or try to trade Joe if Kenny had won the job, you are still having Shedeur throw to the ball boys just for one of those guys to be traded. I don't know that that's necessarily the best path for getting your rookie quarterbacks ready. And I think that, even going back to Saturday, maybe showed itself a little bit, is that the guy that you've been trying to develop clearly still needs a lot of development. And I don't think he was ever going to be ready just through a few weeks of training camp, but all the things that were a problem with him in college re-showed up. It's like, I would have loved to see Shedeur out there working with the third team all year. Was Kenny ever really going to win that job? Like, was anybody in Cleveland ever going to be happy with Kenny winning that job? I would say probably not. Most people, I think, would have rather had Joe Flacco based on what he did in 2023, based on the fact that the fans just love him because of what he did in 2023. I think everybody wanted to see Joe get the second crack at things. It's like, I question you getting Kenny in the first place. I do. He hadn't drafted a quarterback at that point, but I question you going out and getting Kenny. Ultimately, though, I think you just take this and you kind of run with it. Like, the move kind of works out for you.
You have a fifth round now, right? It's weird because, like, you made a good point. Like, why have him along, like, at this point, like, for so long, when you could have traded him and get your guy that you're developing more reps? I mean, it's what happened to Kenny, where he was not getting reps with the first team. They threw him out there, and he didn't know what he was doing. And it took until like week 7 for him to play in Pittsburgh, and they're like, oh, he's obviously has no chemistry with these guys. Yeah, of course he doesn't. And it's the same thing we saw with Shedeur. I mean, at least with the third strings, he struggled a lot. But, like, you took reps away from this kid who, like, has a lot of things going around him. You have one half of the city that doesn't like him, the other half that worships everything he says. And Kenny Pickett was a roadblock of him getting practice reps. That's all that was, which sucks because I love Kenneth.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
my boy.
You're a Kenneth Pickett guy.
I think he should have started if we would have saw him. But, like, you can't start him, and he's been injured all preseason.
So I think that's part of this, too, is, like, nobody was going out and trading for Kenny Pickett up until there would have been a need to trade for Kenny Pickett. Like, I think if the Raiders ultimately, if Aiden O'Connell's healthy, they're probably not trading for Kenny. Like, I don't love Aiden O'Connell, but I think they like him enough to be like, yeah, he's fine as our backup quarterback. Hopefully Geno stays healthy.
He can win you a game. Geno's out, win you a game. Yeah. It's a backup that you want, right? Because you're never planning for a backup to play more than maybe 4 games a year at most.
Yeah, I just think they would have been comfortable with it. I mean, you would have been looking to a team like the Saints who have clearly leaned into, we're gonna move with the young quarterback right now. Do we really need the veteran in the room? Probably not. That was like the only team that really made a ton of sense at that point. It was like, maybe the Saints determine they do want a veteran, and maybe they do just give Kenny a shot if none of their guys look good. But right now, the Raiders are basically the only team. So, like, I get it. Once you have him here, he wasn't just going to be like, you're going to cut him, because I think Kenny was always probably too good to just up and cut. Yeah, you needed somebody to be able to give up something for him so you could recoup that value, and the Browns always operate based on value. We know this. And when the time came, they did not hesitate. Aiden O'Connell goes down, instantly feels like they're in talks with the Raiders and make a move to get rid of Kenny. I'm struggling. I'm trying to find somebody that would be upset by this news. Right? Like, you're genuinely angry with it, aside from Dom, because you're a Kenny Pickett guy, but you might even be happy with this with him going to Vegas.
I'm sad. I mean, I was excited to see him play. Like, I thought he would start. I generally believe that if he was healthy, his name would be QB1. Maybe it's the Pitt propaganda in my mind. Maybe that's what would happen. But, it's a better place for him. Right? He wasn't going to be here longer than a year at most, and obviously he wasn't. But, it was written on the wall. Joe Flacco doesn't have much left in his career. Kenny's trying to find somewhere to call home.
Yeah, they drafted 2 quarterbacks. Kenny was going to get, at best, a runway to show what he has this year, and it was probably not going to be a very long runway. They were going to move to the rookies.
That leash would have been short.
Yeah, you basically would have been holding them by the collar.
Which isn't entirely fair to him, but, the situation isn't ideal for a journeyman quarterback. Las Vegas?
Welcome to the current, buddy, okay?
Oh, good gracious. Las Vegas, I think, is ideal. And I think at this point, being was it Chase Daniels? That guy was a career backup?
Yeah.
I think being Chase Daniels, playing a few games here and there, that might be the being a Byron Leftwich. I think that's the way to go.
Just a pure Kenny, yeah. Very well. And again,
a Charlie Batch.
Yeah, I think Kenny Pickett is a serviceable backup quarterback. He's good. I don't know that anybody's really going to be that upset by this. This feels like a move that everybody was thinking in their mind was going to happen, and for weeks on weeks, the Browns have been trying to convince us, no, we are going to move forward with Kenny Pickett. We will do this. We will move forward with Kenny. I don't know how many people were buying it. It never really felt like I did. The only thing that was creeping in was fear that they were actually going to make the wrong decision and just keep 4 quarterbacks. Again, Kenny Pickett traded to the Las Vegas Raiders in exchange for a 2026 fifth.